organization originally was formed to serve as a liaison between the military personnel out at Redstone Arsenal and the city of Huntsville residents. And that was its purpose, and we entertained the soldiers in our homes, and that was how it originally started.
The birth of the International Services Council of Alabama began with the vision of Thomas Pickens Gates. Coupled with the support of the Huntsville Rotary Club, the Redstone Arsenal group that was hosting international military students, and the support of the Madison County Commission and the City of Huntsville. Since 1965, these partnerships have remained intact and are the major supporters for the work that we are able to do today, impacting this community, this state, and our world.
And if international services were needed, the first agency that was called was, at that time, the International Visitors Bureau. And B. Albright was the director then, and everyone who knew anything about international relations in this community had B's number. So we would call, and interpreters were provided, and if people needed places to stay, if they needed guidance around town, if the State Department had issues, or whomever we were dealing with, if it was on an international basis, the International, again, Visitors Bureau at that time was involved.
The mission of the International Services Council of Alabama is to welcome and give experiences to international visitors that are selected by the U.S. State Department during their visits here to the state of Alabama. We actually create itineraries that allow them to experience professional resources, cultural resources, educational resources, and most important, to have a one-on-one, face-to-face experience with Alabama citizens.
I think it's a very good way to foster international relationships, good international relationships. I have enjoyed entertaining any number of out-of-town foreign visitors in my home.
It's promoting understanding and friendship, one handshake at a time. It's a great thing to do.
Oh, fascinating organization. Citizen diplomacy at the heart of this organization. And I am so committed to that. So that was what kind of linked me, and the international global perspective as well. But then there was the interfaith angle. And they had approached those of us connected to the interfaith work, in addition to other areas, but primarily interfaith work and issues of church and state and society.
And so the friendship and the concept of volunteerism, which is so different from the rest of the world, they just can't believe that we do it for, for pleasure, and it is a pleasure.
When you have knowledge of other people's lifestyles and beliefs, it's a great way to build world peace. That's another reason I do this sort of thing, is because I can't do anything about war, but I can do a lot to build peace, one friendship at a time.
I met one of the first people to ever be touched by the organization. It was a General Mikio Kimata, who is a retired general in the Japanese Self-Defense Forces. General Kimata served here at Redstone as a liaison officer in the mid-60s, at which time he met many of the people that were forming this organization. So he literally was one of the first people to encounter the International Services Council. General Kimata is probably best known by those who know him for his contributions to the community, and he was the person who donated the funds to create the Japanese bridge there in Big Spring Park. He also donated the Narashino cherry trees, which are in the park, as well as at the Chamber of Commerce building.
And I think he wanted to share the things that brought him joy and that he was proud of from his own country.
When we have international visitors coming in to look at the community from an investment standpoint, whether they're going to relocate a company or an expansion of an existing international company, the ISC is involved. We go to them, talk to their members, and they will host dinners, they'll host receptions, they help us with protocol. Gold Star, LG now, was the first South Korean manufacturing facility located in the United States, and they chose Huntsville, Alabama. So from an economic development standpoint, the ISC wasn't involved to a great extent, maybe even at all during that. However, when the Koreans started moving into the community and were adapting into the culture of North Alabama, and particularly Huntsville and Madison County, the ISC was available. Their members were available to host visiting Koreans coming in, whether they were going to move here or whether they were just visiting. So they played a huge role in that after the fact. Now we involve them both during and after recruitment process, and once again, they are always available.
The academic community also recognizes that, and our partnership, for example, with the University of Alabama in Huntsville, we've launched a Global Perspectives Institute, which is very exciting, creating forums where global issues can be discussed and presented by well-known speakers.
Universities are an ideal place for providing experts in those areas to speak to citizens, to share their ideas, their experiences, their knowledge.
I think I've learned a lot about citizen diplomacy and what that means, and ever since working this job, I've definitely done more research into U.S. foreign policy, and Dr. Pottinger always explains a lot of these programs that we do as, the peaceful side of foreign policy.
I'm just hoping that the organization will continue to do its job, entertain the visitors, showcase Huntsville to the world, so to speak, and do its part for citizen diplomacy so that we can help the world get along better with each other, I hope.
Learning the history of this 45-year-old organization has just been a privilege. Being able to interact with many of the people who were at the founding table and or their relatives, and learning how dedicated American citizens here in Alabama have been to experiencing the global village and making sure that others do. And so I'm delighted to be able to lead the organization into the future based on a very solid historic foundation.